Final analytic tool that we'll learn in doing our data analysis is the chi-square test. And this is a nice test because it's called a test that is non-parametric. It doesn't rely on the assumption that the underlying variables are normally distributed. Some of these you can calculate by hand. Others you can calculate, for instance, in the analysis of tables, if you want to look and see if two dimensions are independent of one another. And that you can use the crosstabs. So you go to Analyze, Descriptive Statistics, crosstabs, and then you can put in, I already have from earlier, the current position type and the family stage. And the chi-square test will tell me whether or not people have different pre-sleep positions depending on their family stage, or whether those two things are unrelated. You want to go in there, exact, just leave as is. That is a little bit more advanced than we need. Under statistics, you'll want to check chi-square, and then phi and v. Those are the effect sizes for a chi-square, and those are for nominal by nominal tables. If you have ordinal tables or nominal by interval, you can check some of these other things. Those are all effect sizes similar to the correlation coefficient, and they have different ways that they're calculated. In the cells, you'll want to click on the observed counts, and then I like to click on row, column, and total percentages, and I'll show you why in a second. Click on standardized residuals, because remember, when we want to find out which things are different, we want standardized residuals greater than 2, and just leave everything else the same. Hit OK. Here it tells we have 1,476 cases for which we have both current position type and family stage. To interpret the output, here we have the number of people in the cell. So there are 9 people who are single with no kids that are rector, dean, or bishop. That is 7.3% of all rectors, deans, and bishops have no kids and are single. It is 4.5% of the single no kids people are rectors, deans, and bishops. And that is 0.6% of all priests that we surveyed for which we have this data. And then the standardized residual tells us how far this is from what we would expect if these two variables, family stage and position type, were not related. And we are minus 1.9, which is almost minus 0.2, which means that this is really an underrepresentation of single no kids people who are rector, deans, and bishop if everything were independent. You can go around and do this for everything. I like the percents because they're intuitively obvious for figuring out and for presenting to people. And you'll often want to put this and say, oh, well, 53.8% of the people within the family stage of having kids under 6 are assistant associates. That's a lot. And notice that standardized residual is extremely high. So we have a sense that people who have young kids end up being in associate ministry. And those with kids 6 to 12 are often in associate ministry as well. Here, people are not as likely to be in interim ministry if they have kids under 6, and you can look at all of these. You also have total rows, total columns, and you can calculate a whole bunch of stuff based on that.